I'm up above Ogwen with a garn in the background, and I'm with Alun Pugh. Now, Alan is the current director of the Snowdonia Society, but of course, Alan, you're giving up that post very shortly, aren't you?
Well, I've been a member of the Snowdonia Society since 1992. I've been its full-time director since just over 2 years now, and it's an important organisation. It's got around 2,000 members, and it does a variety of things in and around the Snowdonia National Park. Our primary purpose is the protection of the national park. This part of the world's a pretty special environment. It deserves to be protected for the benefit of future generations. So we're involved in many campaigns, big and small, around that. We also run a pretty busy events programme for our members, and we take an interest really in everything that affects the Snowdonia National Park.
Now, with you being a member for roughly 20 years and a director for 2 years, what would you say are the key issues that you've been involved with as a director over the last 2 years?
Well, a couple of important sort of public milestones have come about in the last couple of years. Of course, the old Summit building on Snowdon, which was widely derided as the highest slum in Wales, has been replaced by Hafod Eryri. The place has not been without its teeth and troubles, but certainly a major improvement on what was there before. We've run a major campaign on the former military site at Llanbedr. And we've also done a lot of internal reorganisation in the society as well, getting our message out onto a brand new website, recruiting many members online. So there's been an internal organisational change, but more importantly, the campaigning work and the improvement work and the enhancement work of the society has carried on.
And of course, the Snowdonia Society as it is now, it could probably be described as being vastly different to how it originated. And I believe the instigator behind the origins of the Snowdonia Society, was it Esme Kirby?
Well, Esme Kirby founded the society at a public meeting way back in 1967. And the society it's bigger, it's much different, we take on much more work now than we did then. But the principles haven't changed. This is a very special part of North Wales, and we want to keep it special for future generations to enjoy. But at the same time, of course, developing the national park, not freezing it, developing the national park, boosting incomes, boosting the wealth of the people who live here, but in a way that's compatible with its special national park status.
And of course, much of the work that you get involved in, some of it has direct influence on the hills themselves, as in, I think, path construction, the upkeep and maintenance of various walls around the hills. And I should imagine that's conducted voluntarily by many members?
We've got a pool of volunteers, most of whom are members of the society, but you don't have to be a member to take part in our volunteering activities. They get involved in all sorts of things like footpath maintenance and litter picks. These days, of course, we're more into things like climate change and our contribution towards reducing carbon dioxide emissions. So although some of the activities have changed over the years, the basic principles of the society haven't.
Now, over the 2 years, Alan, that you've been director and the head of the Snowdonia Society, are there any aspects within what has happened within the national park, within the Snowdonia National Park, that you think that possibly the Snowdonia Society have sort of campaigned for something but possibly didn't achieve its full goals?
Well, certainly transport is a pretty live issue at the moment. Around 500,000 people climb Snowdon every year, but it's very difficult to access Snowdon with public transport, even if you actually live right on the edges of the national park. So we'd like to see a proper visitor management plan for Athwydfa, and we'd certainly like to see more investment in public transport to get in and around the national park, rather than the overwhelming reliance on private cars.
And of course, one of the things that has been set up in more recent years is the Sherpa bus service.
Well, the Sherpa bus service has had some success. Unfortunately, of course, there'll be some financial cutbacks in recent months, and we are concerned about the future of that service. We think that public transport should be developed rather than cut back.
Now, of course, you're giving up the post of directorship, I believe, in a couple of weeks' time. And you're still going to remain a member and a volunteer, I believe.
Yeah, my appointment as director comes to an end at the end of March. I've thoroughly enjoyed my 2 and a bit years working as the director, but I will of course remain a member. and a volunteer, and I hope my association with the society continues for many years to come.
So the new director no doubt will be appointed shortly, and any sort of advice to them when they take over the job? Would you point them in various directions of possibly where the society should go in the future?
Well, it's the job of our volunteer trustees to set the overall tone and mission of the society, but whoever the new director is, I'm sure that she or he will be pretty enthusiastic about this very special place.
Now, so that's the Snowdonia Society. If we can come on to you sort of personally, Alun, because I know you have a great joy of the hills, and you came into the job as director of the Snowdonia Society, I believe, after taking a sabbatical from being a AM at the Welsh Assembly. Now, that sabbatical, I believe, took you to the Himalaya?
Yes, I really enjoyed my 8 years in the Assembly. Serving 2 terms was a great privilege. It was a huge honour to be one of the first ever members of the elected National Assembly for Wales. But that's democracy. If you stand in marginal seats, these things happen. And when I left the Assembly, I had the opportunity to spend a few months mountaineering. So I had the summer in the Alps, and then I went off to the Himalayas, and I thoroughly enjoyed a couple of months on an expedition in Nepal.
How high did that take you, Alun?
We went to two peaks. Alun Peak, which is just over 6,000 metres, and Myrddyn Peak, which is slightly easier technically, but it's higher at 6.5, and it's a pretty cold mountain. And when you get out to your sleeping bag and it's -20 and dark in the tent, it's certainly a bit different from a pleasant sunny day in the Ogwen Valley.
And was that your first time to Nepal?
First time in the Himalayas, but I do hope I get the opportunity to get back. It's an utterly beguiling and spectacular part of the world.
It's lovely. I've only had the opportunity once to go there. I did the Annapurna circuit many years ago, and one of the memories that I brought back was how convivial and how friendly the native people are.
Yeah, incredibly nice people, content people, and they live in a wonderful and very, very beautiful country, but a very poor country as well. Let's not forget that.
Yeah, that is true. So if we can come back to your future plans, because of course after you give up the job of director of the Snowdonia Society, I believe that you have aims on more distinguished, or possibly more distinguished corridors of power.
I'm not sure of that description, but I'm certainly a candidate in the next general election, and I'll be looking forward to the challenge of the election campaign, and we'll see what the people of Arvan have to say.
Well, it's been a pleasure meeting you, Alun. Many thanks for your time. And just before we close off, any other sort of comments concerning the Snowdonia Society?
It's just a very interesting organisation full of people, all of whom have different ideas about the best way of taking Snowdonia forward, but every member is pretty passionate about this very special part of Wales, and so am I.
Well, many thanks, Alun. Thanks for your time. Cheers.